From supporting survivors to assisting midwives and Maya, it is amazing what one person can ignite a change across the countries and across the cultures. So I'm super excited today to invite a guest, my friend, Genelle Grant. Thank you so much for being here today. I cannot wait to dive into the work of yours. But before we start, I would like to read your bio because I feel that there's so much richness in your life that I wouldn't even dare to remember this by just my mind. Okay, so Dr. Genelle Grant is lifelong educator and the founder of Femina Global. And honestly, her work spans so many powerful spaces. Janelle uses art, teaching, and psychology in ways that genuinely help people to heal. Whenever she's supporting survivors of human trafficking, painting murals with students, or working alongside Maya midwives in the rural communities. She's taught at universities in Puerto Rico and US, and she's shared her knowledge across the Latin America and places like Colombia, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, and Guatemala. And for the past 20 years, she has been volunteering with the Guatemalan Ministry of Education and women's cooperatives, bringing resources and training around reproductive health and creative education. On top of that, Janelle also helps lead the US and Central American efforts for the global period festival called Masika Mahasov. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that one, promoting healthier, more sustainable approaches to menstrual care. So get ready. This is going to be an inspiring conversation with someone who has truly dedicated her life to empowerment and community healing.
Yes, thank you, Lenka. So good to be here. So good to see
you. So many things to talk about. But first, tell us, how did you even start in all of this? Like, okay, you get out of college. Yes, you have this education. So how did that sprout it?
You know, I found some earrings with pyramids I've had since high school. And I've had this vision to go to Central America and teach health for years and years and years. So when I applied to the doctoral program, I said I want to teach in Central America. And then when we moved to Florida, we moved here from Puerto Rico, I met a lot of Maya people from Guatemala 20 years, 30 years ago. So that's what started my work in Guatemala.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I met you. And when you had mentioned, would you like to help? And I said, Mayan, I thought they are like all gone. They still exist. It was so ignorant of me, but such a beautiful souls. And you did so much for the Florida community too. I know. So where do we start? You are now working mainly in Guatemala, and you are specifically educating females about their reproductive health. When we went there together, well, actually, you invited me, I was completely shocked that females today do not know how the reproductive organs work, that there's such a thing as a time in your cycle that you are very fertile or not. And more than anything, this is the most shocking thing, that they do not have their hygiene needs. They do not have the pads or tampons or anything like this. And you had created this wonderful volunteer program where in Florida, many volunteers sew in these menstrual kits and they send them there. And I personally seen it, how excited these ladies were. So tell me, how does that empower the ladies? Like tell me just a view of one of those ladies, like you meet them first time ever, and tell me this whole thing, because it's so unreal. I don't even know how to ask these questions.
No, people don't believe this, really. Okay, so when I was there in February, I went to a home of a teacher, woman in her 30s, and she was living there with her mother and her sister in high school. Now, a box of Kotex costs about $10 down there in Guatemalan money, $10. But $10 is what a teacher earns in a day. $10. Here, teachers earn $300 a day. So that box of tampons is equivalent to a $300 box of tampons. That's what it costs.
Wow.
So Eliza, the three of them get their periods at the same time, of course, in the house. Eliza goes to work because they could afford her protection, but the mother stayed home from work and the sister stays home from school. And this is called period poverty because after a while, that girl who stays home every month drops out of school.
Mm.
So, because they just use rags and they're afraid to go outside. And this is everywhere. It's in the United States too. It's everywhere.
Wow. So from that standpoint, you come and you had this idea, well, we can use something sustainable and deliver it to the ladies.
Right.
And so do you have one to show us what that looks like?
Of course I do. Yes, we have about 200 volunteers now in Punta Gorda, Fort Myers Beach, Fort Myers that are making these by the hundreds, by the hundreds. And I talked to a woman who was doing this in Africa, and she was all excited making pads and giving to the women. And then she realized the women didn't have any underwear to put the pads around.
Oh, wow.
Our packets contain 2 pairs of underwear, and there's a shield inside that are sewed by these women. And it's so inside the shield is a piece of plastic that prevents anything from going through. So this goes around the underwear, and then we have flannel, all different colors flannel that goes inside here, and they can wash this out. This kit lasts for 3 years. Midwives cry when they see these because women, it's so expensive to buy Kotex that they wash them and hang them to dry and use them again. And then here comes toxic shock syndrome, which makes women sterile and kills them because they don't have a doctor. So they show up at the midwives already very sick. Yeah. So we can't make enough of these. There are 23,000 midwives in Guatemala.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're working with the national organization. So it's infinite, the need and the use of these.
And it's neat, but it's also wonderful that it is sustainable. Yes. But do you know from like the indigenous perspective, I mean, Mayans were around very long time. Do you know what they had used to do? Like, do they just took off the week out of the month and they didn't do anything, but it was much more celebrated and supported?
Rags. They use their pieces of skirts and rags, and they stay home.
And I was celebrated.
Too embarrassed.
Okay, but I'm talking long, long time ago. Like I'm talking, you know what I mean? It's like, because God created us in a way that is perfect. So it shouldn't be a nuisance. We shouldn't have these feelings of shame or embarrassment about something that is so beautiful. I mean, the menstrual blood carries such a vitality. It is known to be even creating luscious landscaping. I mean, it's kind of silly to say, but
fertilizer, absolutely.
Fertilizer, absolutely.
Yeah, no, women, the ancestral women, they, after a baby's born, they take the placenta and buried it under a tree, and there's a tree in the yard that has the placentas. I mean, they're much more comfortable. The patriarchal religions have made menstruation a curse.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's a gift. Without this, none of us would be here. So hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bloody revolution what we're doing. We're trying to bring pride instead of shame. It
is beautiful, especially now as the infertility skyrocketing. And women are now really disappointing in finding out that they cannot have babies. Yeah. Now I believe you, like you said, it's a revolution. And something has to shift in the women. Just say, hold on a second. It's time for us to start taking care of our bodies the proper way, not putting toxins in us and on our bodies and thinking that this is good and shaming us in the meantime about that. So you had created this amazing thing, because another thing that you have taught me about the life in Guatemala is that there's unfortunately very young girls who get pregnant too early. And you told me that they do not know that such a thing is a cycle, and then they have the fertile days and non-fertile days. So Tell us about this wonderful bracelet that I have been given when I was there.
A bracelet. Yes. When I was there last February, one teacher was so upset because her 11-year-old student was pregnant and the boy was 12. And, they drop out of school. There's nothing that can, and there's no birth control. The teachers in Guatemala have no reproductive health training, which is what I'm doing with the Ministry of Education. And when I go next February, I'll be talking with about 400 teachers in sixth grade. We're aiming at sixth grade around the country. So 11-year-olds will have this information. So this is the rhythm method. They call it ancestral. And I used to teach birth control pills and the, injections. They hate that stuff. They don't want any chemicals in their body. They hate it. So this seems really simple, really primitive. I know, but it's 85% effective. And it's something that students can use. And they have nothing else. They can't go buy condoms in the store in the village. They just can't. So it's ancestral. They're all these beads, pony beads. And I say you start with the red one always. The red one is the first day of your period. Even if you're regular, you always have a first day. Then you have 6 days where you're not fertile. You can have fun. Although in that culture, in the Maya culture, they do not have relations during menstruation at all. They're shocked to hear that other cultures might do that.
Wow.
Might. And then you come to 12 days of green. Now, I designed this because it's for women who can't read. So the colors are essential. So you have 12 green days where the seed grows and you are fertile. And then you have until the end of your period, all these other days, which is fiesta, and you can play. So we've been distributing this for many years, and I've had so many women come up and say, thank you, it works. We use it. I can plan my family. It's primitive and it's ancestral, so it's accepted.
Yeah. So you can call it primitive. I call it's a wisdom because, like you said, you can reach across the words because if they cannot read, this is perfect. They don't, I know we have now, apps like our modern girls are using, but this one is something that they can put on next to their toothbrush.
Exactly. And you move the bobby pin one bead every day. It works. And also you can talk with your partner. So it increases communication in a couple.
So how many people or how many teachers are you teaching in February? Like maybe I missed it.
400. I'm going
400
to cities. And we're working with the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
And we've been invited by a library in a place called Sumpango, and we're meeting with kids and then the teachers.
And so you aiming for the sixth graders, and then from there, the teachers will be able to bring it to the seventh grader and eighth grader and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
However they choose to do so.
So we might have sixth grade teachers from 50 schools in one morning. And so, we never have enough of these ever. The students have started making them out of rings, out of tiny, tiny little beads, rings. So good.
And they making them in Guatemala, or they also are made here in Florida?
Guatemala are making the same thing, but out of the tiny little seeds.
Oh, we talked about those little beads that they come from Czech Republic.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. They're using it, they're assimilating it.
Yes. And so how do the ancestral practices of Mayan healers and the midwives and timekeepers interface with the Western world, with the medicine of the Guatemala and the world?
Yeah. There's a big conflict going on right now. In Guatemala and many of these where there's a large indigenous population, the midwives have been doing the birthing forever. Now, Graciela, the woman I work with, and she's on the national board, she's delivered over 9,000 babies, and she started when she was 4 with her grandmother. She did not go to college. And still, she's delivered 9,000 babies. And now they're trying to get the midwives to take exams. Some don't read, but they've attended, 5,000 births.
Wow.
So there's this whole thing going on right now where they're trying to certify the midwives.
So patriarchy getting their fingers in them again.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Again, wisdom. I wish that we could do it the other way around. Take them and learn their wisdom and get tested.
How about that? I just want to mention something here that is a good example of that. I got tinnitus a couple years ago. So I asked Graciela when I was there this year, what caused this in my head? What? And she said, did you have surgery? I said, yes. She said, well, when they cut your bone on my knee, the bone marrow got loose and went into my brain and is resting on my neurons to make that constant sound. And I'm going, really? So then I asked a anesthesiologist at Dartmouth Mary Hitchcock Hospital, have you ever seen this before? He said, oh, yes, this is very normal. When you cut the bone marrow goes into your heart, and then it goes to different parts of your body. How did she know? She never went to college. How did she know the exact correct answer?
Wow. That is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. I do remember when I was there, we were talking to one of the shaman ladies, and she was talking about how they can figure out the girl and the boy specifically. I forgot I forgot the formula for it, but it made so much sense.
Yeah, and she knows she can just put her hand. When we were in a restaurant, some pregnant white woman came over and said, I'm going to the hospital. I have a big problem with my baby. And Graciela put her hand on her and said, let's go to your room. And an hour later, no problem. Graciela just moved the thing around. Shh.
Yeah. How can you take a test on that?
Can't.
You can't. That's a wisdom that it gets in their genes. It is passed on in their cellular memory. It doesn't need to have a brain capacity for some tests. This is really sad. So they're going to be actually implementing these kind of things.
Trying to now.
I was just watching a podcast of one gentleman who is working in WHO, and he was saying something so profound. I had to literally rewind and listen to it twice. He said that the United States have the #1 death during birth, the child and the mother.
Yes.
In the Western culture. So they're not comparing to, the other countries that they are not as developed. They're putting it on the same level as the same developed countries like America. The #1. How is that even possible? So that's something to think about. How can we get the midwives back in the birthing rooms, right? And get the guys out of there. No, seriously. I
know. They should
nothing
in there, for goodness sake.
It's nothing against, there's nothing against the males. It's the fact that the females have been doing this for centuries.
Millennia.
Yeah.
Forever.
There's something about it. Yes. And they don't need to have doctorate degrees and delivering a baby. They just know. So going back into the education, you also are being a part of some Indian awareness. Can you tell us about that, the leadership role that you are having with, is it some kind of festival?
Yes, it's a group called Masika Mahatsov, and they contacted me from India and asked if I would work with them. I don't know how they found out the blood stuff, I think. And this is their poster, Period Festival, and they work with the United Nations. And the United Nations has every year on May 28th a global period hygiene celebration day. So in India, this group of men in India are trying to take the taboo, because there's a huge taboo in India on menstruation, and trying to get rid of that taboo. So when I got the name of this Indian person, I thought, oh, okay, I'll join in the meeting. And it's these men I thought this is really good. And they have every year, they have festivals all year long celebrating menstruation. They have bicycle races and dances and drama and games. And do you know, we tried to do that this year in Fort Myers, and not one place would rent to us. They thought that menstruation was too political.
So did they actually say that, or they kind of danced
Yes,
around this?
we had a contract at one place, they canceled it. No one would take us to do a little old period festival.
Wow.
Too political in Fort Myers.
So to bring awareness, and we were talking about it before we started the podcast, here in the modern world, girls are annoyed by the time of the month. They just want to go swimming and go to the beach, and they don't want to deal with this. This is just kind of annoyance, not really understanding that that is such a gift, such a gift,
Sacred.
sacred gift. And unfortunately, they don't see their moms celebrating that either. So again, there's a lack of
Education.
in education. Again, we don't even teach that in our school system. They teach us.
Do not. And if I taught it, I'd be fired, Lenka. I would be fired if I talked to girls about their periods in elementary school. Fired. And a doctorate in health education.
Wow.
Can't do it here.
In the United States, see, this is it's unbelievable. So it's really up to their parents, and that time of their life, they already, trying to be independent from their family and all that, and it's not cool to talk about it. Yeah, embarrassed. So when you have somebody neutral coming in, non-threatening, it's just so much better, especially if you know that all your friends are going through the same thing. It's nothing quote quote bad about it. You are really doing amazing work because, like you said, it is revolutionary. The men in India applause them because that is wonderful. I had no idea that India is on the same. I don't even know what other countries are like this. I mean, the whole world is like.
Oh yes, I mean these are some of the places. Nepal, Guatemala. We had two of them with 120 women. Easy peasy. Every woman dressed up in red. Midwives look at our blood as sacred. Sacred.
Sacred. Yeah.
Sacred. It's all over the world. I mean, Nepal, Colombia, Africa, all over India, table tennis tournament. I mean, it's hilarious. There's just so many things. One thing I do want to say, they have where women make their own pads, but they also are really promoting, and I want to say this here, the menstrual cup.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I want to talk about this. And over here in this poster, there are menstrual cups.
Uh-huh.
Make up the flowers.
Uh-huh.
This is the future right here. My daughter-in-law is a pilot for Spirit, and she says all the women pilots, this is what they use.
Okay.
Okay.
What is it made out of?
It's plastic. It's just plastic. It can last, says 15 years, but it can last a really long time. It's not expensive, and you just, fold it. It's kind of like a diaphragm. Fold it, put it up inside, and then pull it out and wash it and use it. This is the future. There's no products. Imagine if you had no tampons, no napkins. That's a big problem in countries, the disposal.
Where do you buy it, and who makes it?
You can buy there, if you go on Amazon, they have about 30 different kinds of menstrual cups. It's fabulous. It's a young thing. Okay, it came in with the millennials. They're really, really into, and I'm sure Gen Z, they're all using them.
Yeah, that's good to know.
It's cheap. It's environmental.
So would you take that to Guatemala as well?
They work with the young women in Guatemala.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're not going to.
No. Okay.
Young women are open, and a few are trying it. So we're, waiting till they try it, and they get out. So, but this is what India is really pushing.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well, I'm glad that you were able to partner up with them because looks like they are going global.
They are. They are global. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Fabulous group.
Besides the bracelets and then the menstrual pads, you also had these wonderful cards. So when we went to Guatemala together, you kind of gathered, like, I don't know, it was like 35, 40 ladies, and you played games and things like that. But you also teach them, well, okay, I don't want to say it. I want you to say it. But tell us about the teaching tools that you give them.
Okay. So I've been teaching, all my life, 60 years. And now I'm at the point where I'm not making copies on paper. I'm using little tiny little cards, and these are all my lessons. And this is like one class, one whole day of classes right here. And this is hugs for me. I love and take care of myself. I listen to my heart. I care for my nutrition. I accept myself as I am. We are brave and valuable women who are creating an egalitarian future. And this is in Spanish and this is in the English. Everything's bilingual. And then I have breathing exercises. And then this is for the
Bracelets.
bracelet. Yeah.
So how do they respond to this?
Self-love with Indigenous women is really hard to get to because they live a very oppressed life. It's a very macho society, and I'm teaching the parts of the body to women and teachers, and it's really sad how so many women get to adulthood and don't understand that they get to enjoy sexual relations also, that we actually have an organ of pleasure.
Yeah.
They don't know. It's been kind of rape every night. And so that's a whole other piece that we're kind of bringing women to themselves, that it's okay to have pleasure. You have an organ for pleasure. It's a clitoris. This is where it is. It's okay. God gave that to you only for pleasure. It's okay.
Yeah. It must be such a shock, especially for the older ones.
Yeah.
But do you see the younger ones are now affected by the phones, like the cell phones?
It's the same.
Yes.
The pressure, the threats on social media in the schools. It's the same there.
But when you go in from the sexual aspect of it, they get you telling them this kind of wisdom teaching, and then they get that social media. It's kind of a clashing of cultures.
It is a clash. I clash, okay?
Yeah.
But I've been told many times it's better that you come and say this to people instead of, another Latina woman or a Maya. Maybe it's a Dr. Ruth kind of thing, right? I mean, I'm so out there. I'm so different. They can maybe accept what I'm saying a little better.
Yeah, that's very interesting, what you just said. It's better when you say it because you're so different that they actually listen to you versus their Latino teachers. That's very fascinating. I wouldn't really think about that one.
Well, it's not that I'm better. It's just that I'm different. And I do have a doctorate. So they, as you know, they respect a doctorate.
Yeah.
And I'm not going in there, to press my knowledge on them. As you well know, I've certainly learned not to do that by now.
Yeah.
Certainly learned to respect their ancestral practices.
Hmm.
So, but they're too shy. They're a very, very shy culture. And this stuff is mortifying to them. Mortifying.
Yes. Yeah.
They can barely say the word vagina without, crouching down.
Yeah. Interesting. And so they come to the United States and they live here with the same thing. So they just kind of get replanted, but their thought process doesn't change. So you were doing the same thing here and this area for them as well.
I still am. I work with a group in North Fort Myers called the International Organization for Latinos, and we're doing a lot of work with immigration issues right now, but I teach here too.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. I know you did so much for the ladies here in this area. So it's wonderful. You don't get any publicity. See, that's the thing. People like you are too busy doing. You don't look for the followers and having a fancy websites and
book. I sorry, I just don't have time for anything.
Yeah, you don't have time. You just keep doing. That's wonderful. And what also is fascinating that the United Nations had created a day, menstrual day, right? How did that happen? When did that happen?
Yes, I think that's been going about 8 years. And it's always on the fifth month because we have 5 days to our period and the 28th day because we have
Okay.
28 the cycle. So it's always May 28th. Yeah,
Oh.
there's celebrations all over the world. It's
Hmm.
good. People need to be talking about our bleeding.
Yeah.
It's a gift. We're women. We can have children. What's
Yes.
more sacred and powerful than that?
Yeah. Well, we're releasing, eggs and all these good things to procreate life.
Yeah.
And the same kind of a chemical structure is in plants too, the chlorophyll. So it's like green and red, but we are the same. We reproducing beautifully. And being shamed about something like that, it's just criminal, in my opinion.
Well, there's some churches that will not even let women in during their periods.
Oh, come on. Really? Oh, in other countries, I'm hoping.
Some evangelical, Muslim.
Really? If somebody's listening to this, they're going to be shaking their head. It's like, that's not even possible. 2025 and this stuff, it's still
Considered
going on.
dirty. You're considered Jewish. You're considered dirty at this time of your month.
Wow.
So, and that's a very patriarchal thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's going to take education, and luckily that whole movement is dying off. They like dinosaurs, they dying off. That doesn't hold anymore. It's just people are laughing. It's just crazy. But I'm so grateful that you are doing all of this stuff. Is it anything else that you would like to bring up that I had missed? Because there was a couple websites that I had checked out. You had sent me, and they were mainly in the Latin countries,
I
right?
don't have a website. I have one website, but I don't do anything else.
Yes. And so
Um,
if people can want to get hold of you, they can find you on the
Femina
Femina Global
Global. Yeah, the feminaglobal.com
dot
website.
com. Yes.
So it's the
Yeah.
only if someone's out there who wants to help me with social media, I invite you. Everything here is volunteer, by the way. Everything. I've never taken money for this. I've raised money for 20 years, probably
Mhm.
talked with over 10,000 teachers by this
Mhm.
point. So
Wow.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Yeah, you are walking the walk, talking the talk. I mean, you have lived also through the life a time of the, Vietnam War. You were probably out there like saying things against the war. So you were always the warrior.
I was. I
Yeah.
was. Ever
And
since,
and still are.
yeah. Ever
Yeah.
since as a kid, I always a teacher, though. Always a teacher. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's wonderful. So the last question I have is, would you have as a message for the humanity? If you would, have one thing you wanted to say, what would that be?
Wow. Oh, I think cherish our own bodies as we and cherish each other. Cherish
Hmm.
our bodies. Let's drop it. Women have such a hard time in this society, right? I mean, we've got the whole Barbie thing, and then you look at these new robots, and they look just like robot Barbies.
Yeah.
I mean, why does a robot need huge breasts? You know, why?
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point. Good point.
Why?
Yeah.
And, like anyway, I think we need to look beyond patriarchy. Really, I think that's been one of the most damaging things of our society, and use religion maybe in a different way.
Yeah. So bring the awareness of our sacred existence, cherish our bodies, and
Cherish
be
it.
aware that there's a world out there that still need our help in many, many ways. I saw that you drive in a long, long, long time to the mountains from the city. And once you get there, there's nothing else. And these families do not get out.
Mm,
So that's why they don't, like you said, they don't even get a proper education because they have no way of taking care of themselves every cycle that they are faced with. They drop off out of school.
The organization called Days for Girls, I'd like to mention that group because they started in Africa when they noticed that girls were dropping out of school. And it was because they did not have period products. So they started maybe 15 years ago. And that Days for Girls, there are people all over the world making and shipping these kits to Africa, Central America, South America. It's a beautiful movement. I mean, it's a worldwide movement, this whole thing. It really set us back in Fort Myers last year when they wouldn't even give us a space.
Yeah. Well, it will change because you bring in awareness to it. You are one person at a time, a person like me interviewing you. There will be more people interviewing you, and it's going to go, global, just like you guys want it to be. So I would like to thank you for lightening up this conversation and showing us what's possible with one person has an open heart and a big vision. So thank you again for your time, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Lenka. Great to be here. Thank you.